Welcome to our video exploring the timeless concepts of Platonic Logos and their implications on our understanding of reality. In this journey, we will begin with Plato's concept of Logos and the theory of forms, delving into how these ideas provide a framework for true knowledge. We'll then connect these philosophical insights to Pythagorean mathematics, demonstrating how rational and mathematical truths reflect the immutable nature of the forms. Finally, we'll examine Plato's arguments for the immortality of the soul, highlighting the eternal nature of true knowledge. Let's dive in and uncover the deeper truths that transcend our physical reality. What is Logos? Plato's concept of Logos, derived from the Greek word for word, reason, or principle, plays a central role in his philosophy, particularly in relation to his theory of forms. In Platonic thought, Logos represents the rational principle that allows humans to access and understand the eternal, immutable forms that constitute true reality. Unlike the physical world, which is subject to change, Platonic forms are perfect and unchanging, existing in a higher realm that can be apprehended only through intellectual reasoning and dialectic, the allegory of the cave. In the Republic, Plato uses the allegory of the cave to illustrate the difference between the world of appearances and the world of forms. The prisoners in the cave, who see only shadows on the wall, represent people who perceive only the physical world. The journey out of the cave and into the sunlight symbolizes the ascent of the soul from the realm of appearances to the realm of forms, facilitated by Logos. Role in knowledge and reality. Let's break down some of the key components of Plato's Logos. In Timaeus, Plato further elaborates on the role of Logos in the creation of the cosmos. He describes a divine craftsman, demiurge, who uses Logos to impose order on the chaotic material world, shaping it according to the eternal patterns of the forms. This creative act illustrates how Logos operates as the rational principle that brings harmony and structure to the universe, reflecting the perfect order of the forms. Don't forget to show your support by hitting those like, subscribe, and bell icons, the central message. For Plato, true knowledge, or episteme, is distinguished from mere opinion, or doxa, by its relation to the eternal forms. While sensory experience provides only fleeting and unreliable information about the physical world, the intellect, guided by Logos, can grasp the timeless truths of the forms. This epistemological framework suggests that reality is fundamentally rational, and that understanding it requires transcending sensory perception through intellectual inquiry. Logos, therefore, is not just a method of reasoning, but the very means by which the soul connects with the ultimate reality. Pythagorean theory and Platonic forms. Pythagorean mathematics. Pythagoras and his followers believed that numbers and mathematical relationships are the fundamental nature of reality. The famous Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, is a prime example of this belief, demonstrating a precise and universal relationship between the sides of a right-angled triangle. This theorem, like all mathematical truths, is seen as eternal and unchanging, independent of the physical world. Relation to Platonic forms. Given that Pythagoras is one of the founders of geometry, literally translated from the Greek words meaning earth measurement, how can we state that the Pythagorean theorem can be intuitively observed as an example of Platonic Logos? Just as the forms represent perfect and immutable truths that exist beyond the physical world, the Pythagorean theorem embodies a rational, mathematical truth that transcends any specific instance of a right-angled triangle. Whether drawn in the sand or visualized in the mind, the relationship expressed by the theorem remains constant. reflecting the kind of eternal truth that Plato associates with the forms. Even if all right-angled triangles in the world disappeared, this mathematical truth would still exist. In this way, Pythagorean mathematics aligns with Platonic thought by revealing the underlying order and rational structure of reality. The theorem's universality and immutability suggest that mathematical truths, like the Platonic forms, are accessible through reason and intellectual inquiry, guided by logos, mathematics as the grounding for scientific thought. This understanding of mathematics from a logos position serves as the foundation for all scientific thought. Mathematical principles and logical structures form the bedrock upon which scientific theories are built. For instance, Albert Einstein's theory of relativity is grounded in complex mathematical equations that model the nature of space, time, and gravity. This further demonstrated how mathematical reasoning is crucial for scientific advancement. Their work shows that mathematics is not just a tool for measurement, but a profound means of understanding the universe. Immortality of the soul in Platonic philosophy. Plato's arguments in Phaedo. In Phaedo, Plato presents a series of arguments for the immortality of the soul, linking it to the soul's ability to grasp the eternal forms. In a Socratic dialogue, Socrates argues that the soul pre-exists and outlasts the body, participating in the realm of forms both before birth and after death. The soul's affinity with the forms, which are eternal and unchanging, suggests that the soul itself shares these characteristics. Implications for knowledge. The immortality of the soul has significant implications for Platonic philosophy. If the soul is eternal and capable of accessing the forms, then true knowledge is not dependent on the physical world or sensory experience. Instead, it is a matter of intellectual and rational engagement with the higher realities. This view elevates the role of logos as the essential means by which the soul connects with the ultimate truths of existence. To explain this through a metaphor, imagine that our everyday sensory experiences are like watching a movie on a screen. We see the images and hear the sounds, but they are merely representations of the actual events happening in the world of the movie. The eternal soul, in contrast, is like stepping behind the screen and seeing the film set, the actors, and the real happenings that the movie is based on. In this metaphor, the movie represents the physical world, while the behind-the-scenes reality represents the higher, unchanging forms that the soul can access through intellectual reasoning. True knowledge, therefore, comes from understanding the deeper, unchanging realities behind the sensory experiences. Furthermore, the concept of an immortal soul reinforces the idea that the highest form of knowledge and reality is unchanging and timeless. We can see this in the following segment. Is it not the case that whatever the soul occupies, it always brings life to it? And is there any opposite to life other than death? The soul, then, as has been acknowledged, will never admit the opposite of that which it brings along with it, as has been agreed from our previous discussion. And that is the opposite of life, is it not? Yes, death. So, it will not admit death, just as 3 will not admit even, and as the odd will not admit even, then the soul, too, will not admit death. So, is the soul something deathless? Yes, it is. If you enjoy this content, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Conclusion. In conclusion, the concepts of Platonic Logos and the theory of forms provide a framework for understanding the deeper, unchanging truths that lie beyond our sensory experiences. Through the lens of Pythagorean mathematics and the foundational role of mathematical reasoning in scientific thought, we see how these timeless ideas continue to shape our comprehension of reality. The notion of the immortal soul further reinforces the idea that true knowledge is not tied to the physical world, but is accessed through intellectual and rational engagement with higher realities. These insights reveal a universe where forms and existence extend beyond space-time, offering a profound perspective on the nature of being and knowledge. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest episodes.